Hey guys, it's Davin again from Brewbitz. Now I'm out in the garden because I've got a fantastic load of runner beans this year, and so I thought I would try and remake something I made a few years back that could have been made better, so I thought I'd have another go. So, as you can see, I picked a fair few runner beans and we're already in the process of slicing them up. And this is what I made a few years back. It's a runner bean, well, not really too sure if you can call it wine because I fed it and fed it and fed it so much it's so stupidly strong. It's probably more like a runner bean brandy, but we'll see what we can do and see if we can make something a bit more interesting this year. So the beauty of runner bean wine is because we need 3 pounds of runner beans and we're going to cook the runner beans, it means we get to eat the runner beans with lashings of butter. So quite simply, onto the hob I've put a big pot with all my 3 pounds of runner beans and I've added a gallon of water, and we're just going to simply boil these up. And we're just going to boil them for about 20 minutes. So I've prepared a bucket which has got a straining bag in, and I'm now going to pour the boiled runner beans, aha, look at those beauties, into the bucket. Just be careful because there is a lot of steam that's going to come off, and of course it's just off boiling. I managed to keep most of the runner beans in the cooking pot, but some of them did come into our straining bag. So we can now pop that out of the way. And now we're left with a lovely liquor that we can potentially look at fermenting up. So I'm going to leave this now for quite a while to cool down to 20 degrees. So I'm going to put a lid on and we'll come back in a few minutes. The runner bean juice then has cooled down now to 20 degrees. So we're now going to add in our 3 pounds of sugar and give this a good stir till it's all dissolved. You can feel when all of the sugar's been dissolved because you don't get any of the gritty feel and you don't hear the grittiness at the bottom when you're stirring. So now that 3 pounds dissolved, we're going to add a couple of extras. So here I'm going to add a half a teaspoon of tartaric acid. That's going to add some bite to our wine and give it a nice level of acidity. We're going to give that a little stir in. There we go. The next thing I'm going to use is some yeast nutrient, and here I'm using 2 vitamin B1 tablets, and what we're going to do is we need to crush those. So between 2 teaspoons we literally just crush them like that till they form a powder, and that goes in. That's going to help the yeast to eat all of the sugar, just like we need vitamins, so do yeast. So anyway, that's all gone in. Now we've boiled our runner beans, so I know normally with fruit you would get pectin released if you were to boil strawberries and whatnot, and that's what helps set jam. But just in case our runner beans have had any pectin in them, I'm going to add a teaspoon of Pectolase, and this will aid clearing at the end when we've finished brewing our wine. And now there's one last little ingredient, and that's the yeast. And here I'm going to use an all-purpose white wine yeast. I'm going to take my spoon out and I'm just going to sprinkle it on the top, like so. Loosely put on the lid, and now I'm going to put this in my warm cupboard for a week and see how it's fermenting in a week's time, and then we're going to look at racking it off and putting it into a demijohn. And after just 24 hours it's already bubbling away nicely. The wine's had just over a week in my warm cupboard, and as you can see, it's pretty much slowed right down in fermenting as it even started to clear. So it's now time to siphon the wine into a sterilised demijohn to allow the wine to finish fermenting right to dryness. And how I'm going to do that is with a auto siphon. So my demijohn and my auto siphon have been sterilised, and I'm going to pop the one end into my demijohn, and in the other I'm going to lower it into my wine, give it a couple of pumps and start the flow. I filled the demijohn up to the bottom of the neck, and now's a sneaky time to take a quick sample. So we've got a little bit of runnerbean wine here. That's definitely better than the last runnerbean wine I made, and that's going to be a nice wine. So I'm now going to put a airlock in the top of my demijohn, and I've filled the bottom two bubbles here up with some sterilising solution. And now this is going to go back into my warm place for about another 2 weeks to finish fermenting. And then once it's finished fermenting, we're going to be ready to bottle.